Hello, Maria. Thank you for speaking with GZERO today ahead of Venezuela's elections this Sunday. I understand that you're in hiding right now, but could you tell me a little bit about what your life has been like since the election last summer? How have you processed both the massive victory of being able to prove that Maduro didn't win, but also the disappointment of him not stepping down?
Well, Riley, I first of all have to say that I feel so proud of what the Venezuelan people were able to do. It was huge, and most people thought it was impossible. And we were able to build a movement of over 1 million volunteers that were able to secure the tally sheets in less than 24 hours and under, very strong, fierce persecution and prove that we won by a landslide. After Maduro was defeated and we were able to prove it. And in our case, Maduro accused me of terrorism. He said that, I would have to spend the rest of my life in prison. And every single, coordinator involved in directing this huge process are either, in exiled or in jail or in hiding. And that's what I decided to do. It was almost 10 months ago. And to be honest, it hasn't been easy. You're never prepared to be in absolute isolation. But fortunately, I've had the possibility to work, without stop in order to maintain the strength, the pressure, and even make it scale up and grow so that we will finally, as I have no doubt, make the popular sovereignty of the Venezuelan people and our mandate be respected.
Do you think that they're at risk, that Maduro's regime is at risk of losing power on Sunday?
Well, look, Sunday is not an election, and it has nothing to do with Maduro getting more power. On the contrary, it's going to be a huge defeat because people will not participate, will not go. And I want to make this very clear. We are under not a conventional dictatorship, but a criminal structure that uses these kinds of processes to try to whitewash their faces. In this process, only those individuals that the regime allows are able to participate as candidates. They have completely changed the rules and violated the laws regarding who votes and where they vote. So in this case, a massive boycott will leave the regime alone and even further weaken more what they have left of support that I insist is only a few top brass individuals and financial enablers.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that. After pulling off such a massive organizational feat in the presidential election, how did you decide that this time around you wanted to use your power as the opposition leader to call for a boycott, to call for people to abstain from going to the polls? How did you decide that that was the best route forward for the opposition at this time?
Because we already proved where the power is. We already proved where the people is. That happened on July 28th. And everybody knows it. And we surprised the regime. They never expected that we had such a strong organization and we were going to prove the results. So once that happened, they decided to cut short any possibility to have true results on an electoral process. So that it's over. Our concern, our mandate, our duty right now is to make that result be respected. And in that case, we need to evaluate every action the regime does in terms of its whether facilitates or accelerates the transition to democracy and Maduro getting out of power, or in the country, it stabilizes the regime. And in this case, it is clear to the Venezuelan people that this maneuver by the regime is designed to help them stabilize. So we're going to do exactly the contrary, exactly the contrary. And certainly we want to vote in true, free, and fair elections. And that's what we're fighting for, not on this operation designed by the regime.
Well, I know that you've also called on the international community to pressure Venezuela to push towards democracy. And specifically in regards to the US, have you been able to make any inroads with the Trump administration? I know you went on Donald Trump Jr.'s podcast a few months back. What do you think about Donald Trump's policy when it comes to Venezuela right now?
Well, I have to say that I'm very grateful to this administration and President Trump regarding his position on Venezuela. It's been unwavering support, as well as Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Undersecretary of State Christopher Landau. They're being very clear. And I have to say, in Congress as well, senators and congressmen and women that understand that Venezuela truly represents the regime in Venezuela, a threat that it's already, ongoing, developing for stabilization of the region and the national security of the hemisphere, and the security of the hemisphere and the national security of the United States. And we are very grateful to President Trump in terms of these decisions made.
But on the other hand, hundreds of Venezuelans have been deported to some of the harshest prisons in the region in El Salvador. And that number is likely only to increase since the Supreme Court on Monday lifted the deportation protections of 350,000 Venezuelans. What do you think about the Trump administration's policy when it comes to deportations?
Look, I've been very clear, and the members of the administration, of course, know my position. The Venezuelans that have left our country have been forced by a regime, not only because they have destroyed and impoverished our population, but because everybody that thinks different is persecuted. And almost all of them are good, hardworking, honest, family-loving people. And you know what? They want to come back, but they want to come back to freedom. And the best way to solve the immigration crisis of Venezuela that concerns not only the United States, right? Talking about many countries in Latin America that face the same pressure. I mean, we have a third of our population living abroad. Imagine if a third of the Americans had to leave your country, what it would mean. I mean, this is devastating. We want our family back. We want our kids back. But in order to do that, we need to have a transition for opportunities and safety for them back home. So I insist, the only way you can solve the problem in the source, not the border, is a transition to democracy in Venezuela. And that's what we are asking our allies to help us.